joining me for a catch up with Platinum Property Partners, and I am joined by Mike and Paul. And before we get going with this interview, I just want to say that I have so much respect for this company. To my mind, they are one of the most ethical property companies in our sector, and I've met many of the partners of Platinum Property Partners, and I've always been so impressed by the quality of their properties and their refurbs and the service that they offer to their tenants. And I've also been hugely impressed by their knowledge as landlords. So guys, it's lovely to catch up with you because there's an awful lot to catch up on, isn't there? We're going to talk about the new structure of the PPP business in a moment. But first of all, I'd just really like to ask you, I'll maybe start with you first, Paul. How did you end up being a PPP landlord and get into the whole HMO space?
Yeah, sure. Hi there. Good to catch up with you again, Vanessa, after a little while, I have to say. So how did I end up being part of PPP? I suppose I'm one of those group of partners that have come from what you'd call a classic corporate background. I had 20 odd years at various levels of marketing, both international and UK based. And as with many corporate jobs, if you happen to be in the right place at the wrong time, you have a redundancy opportunity. And it is always an opportunity because invariably it leads on to bigger and better things. Back in 2013, that happened to me. I then went on holiday. I was looking at the British Franchise Association magazine, found an advert for PPP, gave them a call when I got back from my holiday, and the rest is history. I went along to the Discovery Day. I liked everybody that I met on that journey. I liked the model. I was an accidental landlord, so I had a couple of standard buy-to-lets, but I really hadn't got my head around what an HMO was, despite the fact that my eldest was already at university at that point. And was in a student digs to me didn't equate HMOs, but obviously, the world is very different. So that was really my route into it. I was looking for the opportunity to earn an income, wanted it to be through property, didn't know how to make it work, and then the advert and PPP came along, and basically it's been a great successful ride for 9.5 years. So we built the portfolio in and around the Woking area, which is where I'm based. Happy tenants, happy houses, happy landlord.
Fantastic. And you became an alumni, which Mike is also one as well. So Mike, could you just give us your little whiz through how you became an HMO landlord and PPP partner?
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, Vanessa. And yes, I've been a partner at PPP for, again, about 9 years, actually. I was in retail sector for 30 years as an operations director, running lots of shops with lots of people for lots of years. And
very one of good my background experience.
Yeah, and there's two things there. One is I'm absolutely fixed on customer service. That's ingrained in me, really. So everything we do in our portfolio and we train our partners on is all about the housemates and giving them the best service we can, really. So we've stuck to that, in my PPP career as much as I did in my corporate retail career. And then the other thing, I suppose, is I'm driven by personal values, and one of my biggest personal values is freedom. I don't like being told what to do specifically. I like being guided, but in the end, I want to make my decisions. So having that financial freedom of running our own business and the time freedom to take time off when I wanted to and manage my own time rather than being governed by a corporate organisation, it's a massive plus for me, and it's certainly transformed our family's lives actually by having that level of freedom to go our own path, and but under the guidance of a fantastic franchise, really.
Indeed. Well, things have changed in the recent past with the structure. So what exactly happened to PPP, and could you kind of give us an insight into the structure of the new ownership?
Yeah, sure. The PPP was part of a larger group, a property group trading across not just our trading franchise, but also commercial buildings as well. And as part of a group, the focus has to be split across all those different businesses. And I think many of our partners, including those of us who in the end have bought the business, were very keen that Platinum's got its own identity, strategy, fantastic team, and wanted to make it sort of feel like it was in charge of its own destiny. I think in part of a group, you haven't quite got that. With lots of changes last year in the economy, and we all know there was huge changes last year, through the 3 prime ministers in 1 year is going some. The turmoil that's created, I think, not only just for individuals, but for businesses was huge. And our group company certainly struggled through that. And in the end, we had to take a decision, really, or the business did at the time, to sell off Platinum as part of selling off various assets of the business to protect the overall group position. So it's almost like it's one of those things that was driven out of necessity, but actually it was something that many of us were wanting to happen anyway. So it felt like we've come in maybe at the right time. I don't know, but we feel passionately about our bit of the business, the Platinum bit, and therefore we're really keen that we took hold of that, protected it, and hopefully opened it up for other people to join as we have in the next few years and benefit from all the great stuff that we've been part of, really.
Tell us a little bit about the structure of the business now, because essentially it's 5 alumni, I think I said that right, who have bought the business. It was very much along the lines of Victor Kiam. You loved the business so much that you bought it. So just tell us how PPP is operating now with you guys at the helm.
So the structure is very simple in a way, and that the business, the company itself that we've put together is actually mirroring the old Platinum Property Partners company. So we've got the same team, they came across with us, we've got all the same partners, they came across with us as well. So we're effectively mirroring that structure. And all that's changed really is that there are 5 new directors who are also shareholders who now own the business. And we're all partners, we're all alumni, we've all been in PPP for quite a number of years, with quite a few HMOs amongst us as well. So I think when it was clear that PPP needed to be moved out of the group, we met up at our January conference earlier this year, the 5 of us, saying, look, actually, we need to step in and do something here. We can't let our business go into the wrong hands, but equally we want to make sure it actually survives and thrives. And all of us sat there one evening just before the conference started saying, look, we actually love this business, so let's make sure we do something about it rather than sit as bystanders and wish we'd done something after the event. So we announced the next day that we were interested in buying it. There was a great level of support amongst our partners and the staff who were at the conference as well. And then it took about 2 months for us to do the deal, actually. There's a lot of complexity in purchasing a business from a group structure. It took some time. But the support of our partners, our suppliers, our staff has been fantastic. So that's probably, although it's been hard, it's actually vindicated our emotion, actually, which is we're doing it, to try and make sure that we can make this business thrive in the future. And the support of everyone has said, look, actually, you're doing the right thing here, which is really heartening, actually.
Well, I definitely add my support to that. I think it's a really positive way forward for the business. And Paul, perhaps you could explain a little bit how you think this new ownership structure will actually benefit PPP going forwards.
Oh, I mean, on multiple levels, Vanessa. I mean, first of all, you've got owners now who totally understand it from inside out and bottom up. We've all been franchise partners for 9 years plus. We're all alumni. Previous management, as Mike said, was split across PPP and commercial property, and was primarily focused on the commercial side rather than the residential HMO side. So you've got 5 owners now who are not only knowledgeable but passionate about it. As Mike said, the network was very much part of our thinking about, we've got this fantastic group of landlords who all share and support and help each other, not only day to day, but coming together for our conferences and our various meetings, and socially as well. The alumni network is as big and as strong as it is because people get to the end of their franchise term and want to remain part of the community. And so I think it was important for us to take all of that forward. in terms of what we have laying ahead, I mean, clearly the world of HMOs and the market and the property market is massively different now to what it was 10 years ago and will be for the next 10 years. So, we see it as our role in the marketplace to continue to support our existing partners, but also new ones coming through. So whether it's legislation changes, whether it's just even, the Renters Reform Bill, or whether it's a whole government change, whether it's taxation changes, probably just about every part of the business model is likely to change in some shape or form in the next 10 years. And to go on a journey with a group of like-minded experts is a much more comfortable and supportive environment to do that journey in than to being on your own on the outside. And that's basically why we wanted it to continue.
Well, that makes perfect sense to me. It's almost like a cooperative where you're all working together and you've all got such different backgrounds and such different skills to bring into the new structure of PPP as well, not just your landlord knowledge, but all of the things that you did in a corporate existence before you joined PPP. And I think that greatly enriches the value of the whole network and the knowledge within it. It's the start of a new era. There are challenges, but there are also opportunities. Just like you said, Paul, when you were made redundant, it turned out to be an opportunity. And I can subscribe to that as well, because when I was made redundant from my corporate job, a lot of people said it will be the best thing that ever happened to you. And they turned out to be right. So, it's a very, very exciting time. And I think you're absolutely equipped to, to take PPP forward. So it's very exciting.
We just to build on that, Vanessa, we've already had two new franchise partners join us.
Awesome.
The new ownership. Just this last weekend, we were at our first franchise show, the British International Franchise Exhibition at Olympia, under new management. So myself and one of the other owners, John, were on the stand, and looking forward to Discovery Days that we've got in the diary for next week and early July, and further exhibitions later in the year. So it's nice to get the marketing program, wound back up again, and clearly a bright future ahead.
Well, if you've already got two new franchise partners since you restructured, that's got to be proof of concept, hasn't it?
Yeah. I think it's about confidence of the team as well here. I think the team have been through a lot during the whole restructuring. They chose to stay with us, which is phenomenal. We've got some incredibly knowledgeable people within the team, both in the office where I am today, but also our mentors and coaches out in the field who help our partners. So, the knowledge is huge. So for them to stay loyal to us and trust us as we went through the transition is amazing. And then new partners joining gives everyone a bit of a boost, actually, thinking, yes, this is, the business is really strong. Yes, Paul's absolutely right. The external environment is really tough, as we know, with, interest rates at the moment, property prices, refurbishment costs, all that stuff. But the model is very robust, and you know that the sector extremely well. But it's really robust, and while there's always levers going against you, there's equally levers going for you. So our occupancy has never been higher. We're at 98% occupancy across all of our franchise partners. That is quite incredible, really, and so the highest it's been since I joined 9 years ago. So I said, whilst there's always forces against you, there's always within the model something acting on your side, and it's just a matter of being guided through pulling those levers at the right time to maximize the model and focus on your customers, really, which is, where I started, I guess.
Well, 98% occupancy is an absolute incredible metric. And I think anybody starting out in HMOs now, I would definitely say that the risk has been amplified. And I think that's even more reason to join an organisation like PPP. And as Paul mentioned, people can come along to the Discovery Days. We've got some listed in the events section of Property Tribes, but you can also look on the PPP website. And that's really the best way to get a feel for the proposition, isn't it, Paul? Just to come along to a Discovery Day. It's no obligation. Get all your questions answered. Speak to the people actually doing it, who are the HMO landlords, and really, dig down and see if it's a good opportunity for that individual.
Yeah, it's a great way of finding out more about the sector and the support that PPP can give you. As you mentioned, it's a totally free day. Just contact us via the website, via the office. we'll take some details, and during that day, we really lift the hood up and show you more about the financial model that we follow, help you to understand more about the coaches and the mentors that Mike mentioned, their role in someone's journey. So if someone's never touched an HMO before or didn't even know what the letters HML stood for, as my case, right at the very start of my journey, we take them from zero all the way up to hero. And basically, we will also have partners there during the day. So a couple of other franchise partners will be around and can talk about what their case study is, how the business has helped support them. And we typically have a couple of members of our power team. So we work with accountants, we work with mortgage brokers, so they can also talk to those people as well. Just gives them a nice rounded view as to, what the sort of proposition and how joining the franchise would be, the support, some of the people they would be working with on their journey.
And if they do join up to PPP, it's like coming into an ecosystem of everything that you need to be a successful HMO landlord, isn't it? You've got all of the support there. You've got the network, which I think is a huge part of the value of being a member of PPP. And that's just going to continue to go from strength to strength by the sound of it.
Yeah, it has. And actually, ironically, some of the things like COVID and what we all had to do with learning how to use Zoom has actually played into that, because now what we have is we've got a blend of not only live events like the boot camp training, the hand-holding mentoring, whether you're purchasing or refurbing, that's on the ground in your particular area, in your houses. But at the same time, throughout your journey, we also have things like refurbishment clinics. We have rental clinics, housemate clinics. We call them live lounge lettings. So if you want to speak to an expert who is an ALA expert in tenant management, or you've got a particular issue with a particular tenant that you want some help with, then these are free webinars that happen on a monthly basis for our community, and the technology has helped us to provide even more support actually for franchise partners now than there was 10 years ago when Mike and I joined.
Well, I think coming through COVID, coming through Brexit, continuing to thrive even in the very challenging economic environment we find ourselves in, it does just highlight the robustness of the HMO model. And Mike, we know about the cost of living crisis, and an HMO shared room is probably the least expensive form of accommodation for a young professional or somebody starting out in their business life. And it's going to continue to be a very popular form of accommodation, precisely because it's right at the start of affordability and is probably one of the least expensive ways to get accommodation. So I can only see that the current conditions are actually going to play into HMOs continuing to be popular.
I think that's why the occupancy rates are so high at the moment. I think if you go back 20 or 30 years, the equivalent was bedsits. Poor quality shared housing, low quality facilities generally, I'd say. And then the sector has changed massively, and obviously at Platinum we sort of aim towards the middle and top end of the market. And you're right in terms of pricing, to rent a one-bedroom flat in the same location and then add all the bills on that you've got to pay now is extortionate. And if you're trying to buy in that location, it's a totally different world at the moment. So we've got a lot of young people who financially it's fantastic for them because they can save a little bit of money to help them move on to the next step of their housing ladder. So it might be purchasing a property and that's moving in with a partner. So that helps them. But also it gives them flexibility because many people, young people in particular, starting their careers, don't want to buy somewhere and get tied to all the risks and all the problems you have running a house, but actually want to develop their careers. So we have lots of people stay with us for a few years and then they'll move on as their career moves on and they've got no ties, total flexibility. So I think it works from a pricing point of view, but definitely that freedom box I talked about, many people need the same freedom for different reasons maybe, but it allows them the total freedom. And I think then what it gives young people in particular, which is really where I think culture has changed hugely in the last 20 years, really, is it gives them the ability to just form friendships in a new town that they don't know about outside work. Whereas if you go back a little while, the only people you met were people you worked with, but we can put people in houses with similar age people, young professionals, different sorts of sectors, and they can form genuine friendships with people in that house and also perhaps other houses owned by the same landlord. So we're very proud actually about what we do. I know landlords don't always get the best press, but actually we genuinely believe in what we do. We're very proud of the service we offer our housemates and the security we offer them in lots of ways, financial and also the sort of physical security of fantastic houses that we offer. So yeah, we're proud people, I'd say.
Well, rightly so. As I mentioned earlier, I've been to see a number of PPP partners' properties, and they're always done to such a high standard and so professionally refurbed as well. And what I loved about them is that they didn't feel institutionalized. They felt like a genuine home. So as we wind this up, guys, I'm sure you've got a myriad of plans for PPP, but the bottom line is the new version of PPP, is it going to continue to evolve and grow?
Well, it has to evolve, absolutely, Vanessa. The market's changed, as you said. We can see, that's on a short-term basis. That might be economic, but also social things change, and therefore the proposition has to develop. We've seen that certainly with our houses. We've changed the way we design the inside of our houses since the first one we did 9 years ago, and that will continue to happen. So I think the model has to evolve, and as Paul said, there's lots of things then that will affect it. That means that we have to evolve it. So politics, economic factors, whatever. I mean, we have to be agile, and certainly we'll keep on reflecting that. But I think they said the sector itself is extremely strong and robust, and as an investment location, I think it's a very solid, sound base. We can predict our income and profit extremely closely, given the models that we use. So I think as an investment, it's good. It is hard work. You have to accept that this is, you've got to invest in this. This is a business that we've all bought, not just the franchise company that we're talking about, but actually our individual portfolios, our businesses. And you've got to have that business mentality so that you don't just think, well, it's a passive investment. This is something that needs working on, because as individual business owners, we need our individual businesses to thrive, not just the franchise itself that sits above us.
Indeed. Any final words, Paul?
No, I think we're sitting here as 5 new owners, very motivated, very excited, pleased that we were able to rescue the business and rescue effectively the network, because it probably wouldn't be here today had we not been able to step in. And so we feel very lucky, we feel very privileged, but at the same time extremely motivated to make it a success, and can see lots of areas that we want to develop, both product in terms of the franchise approach and some of the training, some of the new things that we want to bring into that training moving forward. So yeah, I would say watch this space. We should probably do another one of these in a year's time, Vanessa, and see how we look back in the last 12 months and talk about the next few.
Well, I would love to do that, and I think that's a really good shout, because I do think there's very exciting times ahead for PPP with you guys at the helm. And I just really want to end by adding my support, and indeed the support of Property Tribes, to Platinum Property Partners, the new Mark II version. We really, really respect what you guys do, and your values, and the standard of everything that you do. And we really want to offer you our full support. Thank you for joining me on this call and updating us about the future of PPP, where it's all heading. And we will put some links underneath this video if you'd like to, if the viewers would like to go and explore a bit more about the Platinum Property Partners proposition. Maybe come along to a discovery day and learn a little bit more and meet the guys. But for now, thank you both very much for joining me, and we will catch up very soon.
Thank you.
Thanks, Vanessa. Thank you.